these are the women that are doing everything, and they're the type that, why isn't something working? Why can't I drop the weight? But that is the client that ends up on my doorstep all the time. And so in those cases, one thing that we come to is the nervous system. And so one thing that we know is that when you are in this fight or flight, this chronic stressed out state, and when we are in that state, it is very upregulating to our immune system. And our immune system is a big driver of inflammation. And so believe it or not, a lot of these women aren't actually holding on to a ton of body fat. I mean, some of them might be, but a lot of them are swollen and puffy from inflammation that is driven by the immune system. And we see this actually get worse during perimenopause because of how estrogen fluctuations affect the immune system so greatly. And so that is the crazy thing, is that these women come in and when we finally get things calmed down, like, we're dropping 10, 20 pounds in a month sometimes.
Welcome to Linda's Corner, where we bring more hope, healing, and happiness to the world. My name is Linda Bjork, and today we're going to be talking about helping women get to the root of their health struggles. I'm delighted to welcome Becca Chilczenkowski. Becca is a board-certified hormone specialist, founder and co-owner of FitMom, the co-host of the Health Revival Show. You can reach Becca at her website, fitmomlife.com, and on social media. And I'll include those links in the show notes. Welcome, Becca. I'm so glad that you could join with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to talk. I love talking about this stuff and to get to know more about you and all this. So let's go.
Okay. I love that. And I love that you're proactive, and I love that you're all in. In fact, when I was checking out your website, I had so much fun. I had to just laugh because we're talking about things that matter to women and issues that we're dealing with that a lot of times we're embarrassed to talk about, like, oh, gut health issues, and dang it, I can't lose this weight, and I'm frustrated with this, and I'm frustrated with that. And you're not embarrassed at all. In fact, you and Liz call yourselves the hormone queen and the poop queen. And I just laughed. I thought, okay, I like her already. And I'm excited about what we're going to talk about because you're not afraid to speak the truth and to be able to get to the heart of the problem. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And I love things that work. I love things that work. I love getting results. And sometimes when we're having issues, like, and it can be lots of different things that say, wait, I really love to drop 10 pounds or 20 or something. I am doing all the right things and I am getting zero results. So can you help people who are in that situation get some results?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was me, and that's, I think, part of why I'm so passionate about it. But before it was me, it was a lot of my clients. And I couldn't figure things out initially. And that's what drove me to become obsessed, I think, a little bit with being able to figure it out. And since I have, it has been the biggest life-changing thing, not only for myself, but for my clients. And typically, and you can correct me if you see something differently, but typically these are the women that are doing everything. They're type A. They have their to-do list. They're maybe a little bit too stressed. They're eating super healthy. They're probably eating all the same things every day to make sure that they're getting all the right foods. They're exercising maybe a little bit more than they should be. And they don't slow down, and they're the type that, why isn't something working? Why can't I drop the weight? Why do I still have the symptoms? Typically these people also have a lot of digestive symptoms going on. They're either bloated or they have food sensitivities. They've had to eliminate a lot of stuff. But that is the client that ends up on my doorstep all the time. And so it can be really frustrating because you have done everything. Like, you've put in the work, whereas a lot of other people, they're sitting over there, they're not putting in the work. And it's like, I'm doing everything and I'm still stuck. And so in those cases, one thing that we come to is the nervous system, right? And so one thing that we know is that when you are in this fight or flight, this chronic stressed out state, which many of these people are because they tend to be a little type A. They do. And when we are in that state, it is very upregulating to our immune system. And our immune system is a big driver of inflammation. And so believe it or not, a lot of these women aren't actually holding on to a ton of body fat. I mean, some of them might be, but a lot of them are swollen. They are swollen and puffy from inflammation that is driven by the immune system. And we see this actually get worse during perimenopause because of how estrogen fluctuations affect the immune system so greatly. And so that is the crazy thing, is that these women come in and when we finally get things calmed down, like, we're dropping 10, 20 pounds in a month sometimes. And it's not super common, but like I see it more than you'd realize. That isn't body fat. People don't drop body fat that fast. Like that is swelling and inflammation that's driven by an upregulated immune system that's kind of out of control. And so there are things that we do, many things. It's a big full body picture, right? But those are the types of clients that end up in our office. And those are the people I love helping because it's, they are working hard. Like I want someone that wants to put in the effort, right? Because they're the ones they want it too. And so I love helping that client. But yeah, it's crazy. I know that it's like, wait, they're not holding on to body fat, they're swollen. Yeah, they're literally just walking balls of inflammation because of maybe it's chronic stress from dieting for too long. Maybe it's, they're doing too much in terms of work and trying to be, a mom to littles and not getting enough sleep. And then hormones are all over the place. But yeah, we typically see weight loss resistance not come alone. It's almost always with other things going on, whether they've started to experience those or not, gut related symptoms, hair loss sometimes for women, mood issues, PMS starts getting really bad. So it's always a bigger picture than like, well, I just need to change my diet. Maybe part of it. But at the end of the day, it's usually a little bit deeper rooted than we think.
Okay, that is so cool. And I'm just in my mind, I'm seeing this person in my mind coming to your doorstep and all the effort that they put in and the frustration that you're feeling. And yet, because they are the type of person who is doing the work, once you turn them just a little bit into some correct learning, they are also the kind of people who are going to follow through and get those results because all I needed was some correct information. I feel like real change comes from a combination of learning and doing. And the learning has to involve correct information because we know a lot of things. And some of the things that we know are true. And that's the tricky part because sometimes we know things and they're actually false. And that's frustrating because we're going with the best information that we have. So that is fascinating. I had understood, of course, that our nervous system, which we have our fight and flight, we have our rest and digest, we have these different functions. And when we are in that chronic stress mode, it affects everything because it can turn down our digestive system. It messes with our immune system. We were designed to go there for short periods of time, not to stay there. But I did not realize that one of the main problems was inflammation. So that's new to me. And I love learning new things. So tell me some more. So let's
Yeah.
say I'm in this situation. I'm doing my best. I really am. I just need to make that little bit of turn so that I can get back into that rest and digest. And I just had this aha moment of, wait a minute, do you mean when I'm standing on the scale, those extra 10, 20 pounds are inflammation, not fat? How do I get rid of that?
I know. In a lot of cases, yeah. For me, absolutely. Like I was working out really hard 4 or 5 times a week, lifting really heavy. I was strong. I was so strong, but I always say I was like fluffy strong because when I figured a lot of this out, I mean, and I was eating, I was tracking my food, doing all the things, like doing all the things that people think and know that are great for you, that you should be doing. I am also someone that looks a lot at genetics. And there are some people, and this can happen to anyone, but there are some people that for me, like genetically, I turn on inflammation very easily. My immune system gets triggered very easily. And so when I launch the inflammation from either a hard workout, which we know is inflammatory in nature, like when you work out really hard, your muscles get inflamed. That's soreness. That's what soreness is. It's that swelling to repair themselves, right? But some people, a lot of people actually can work out and it takes them longer to recover because genetically their body needs more time to calm down the inflammation because their inflammatory system just gets triggered so easily. So genetics can definitely be a part of it. In a lot of other cases, there's just too many stressors at once, right? People are either knowingly or unknowingly under eating. So they're undernourished. We're not getting enough intake. They're working out 5, 6 days a week at like a HIIT class, which is really stressful for the female system. We're not doing more gentle walks or things that are more calming. I always say like, we fill this bucket up of stress all day, every day. When are we filling the bucket up of de-stressing? Like when are we doing the activities of when did you stop and breathe today? Did you go for a walk outside? Did you sleep 8 hours, 7 hours even? Like, what are we doing to help fill that bucket? And many people are like, oh, but I worked out 6 days this week. I'm like, great. Probably actually counteracting what you want to be happening. And so it's being able to take the people that are doing so much and convince them that slowing down is going to be a better option for them. You can only, but
So counterintuitive
it
because
is
in my mind, I'm trying to do all the right things. And if it's not working, then the answer is to do more. And
always.
yet, when we turn that dial into truth, it's not necessarily doing less, although it might include that, but it's doing something a little different that might be more gentle.
Yeah. And for my clients that are that type A, like I tell them to go stop exercising and eat more. And they're like, no, thank you. I'll find another person to work with. I have to gamify it for a lot of people to get them to buy in. And so it's like, hey, normally you wake up at 5 a.m. to do your workout. You're going to wake up at 5 a.m., but instead we're going to do a walk on the treadmill. We're going to do 10 minutes of deep breathing. And then we're going to, journal or gratitude, or if you want to go get like your decaf coffee instead of regular caffeine coffee, but we're doing things that don't feel like they're just giving up. Because I think for a lot of women that push so hard, you feel like you're giving up when someone tells you to like not work out or eat a little bit more nutrient dense foods or more calories or whatever it might be. And so I try to gamify it a little bit with people and make them feel like they're still checking the box, right? Checking the box of doing the things, even though it's less. I know that it's less. They might feel like they're still doing a lot, but I know it's less. And so we try to find where we can take stress off, right? If they have a super stressful job, they're running a business, they're a mom of little children, like, okay, those are your stressors. You can't also be stressing your body out doing 6 days a week of workouts and eating 1,000 calories a day. Like too many stressors, too many going on. And so we have to evaluate the person and what they have in their life and then cater it to them, right? Where can we pull back stress? In most cases, it's exercise. It's one of the biggest ones. Food, right? Can we take out inflammatory foods? Can we maybe change diet? I always say, I'm never going to be someone that is, you have to follow keto, you have to follow carnivore, you have to follow Mediterranean. Diet variation is the key to everything. Because at the end of the day, one, it provides diversity for your gut. We need a flourishing, lots of different types of bacteria in the gut. We don't want the same foods all day, every day. And two, coming back to the immune system, every food basically emits acids. And so we have, I'm going to get a little science here, but I think it's always super helpful and important. We have kind of 2 to 3 stages of the immune system. You have your innate immune system. That's like the 0 to 72 hours. So, you get sick, you have like a sore throat on day 2, and you're like, oh, I think I can fight this off. And then day 3, the adaptive immune system comes in and wham, we're sick. Because the innate immune system is kind of the tagging. That's like it goes around the body, something's going on, I'm going to tag this. And then the adaptive comes around, and that's the one that launches the inflammation to heal, right? That's how we heal. And so the problem comes when that adaptive immune system gets out of control because too many stressors. Food can be one of them. And so if you have an impaired gut, if you're eating the same foods all the time and you removed a ton of foods, well, if our gut is impaired, food particles can actually get into the bloodstream that shouldn't be getting into the bloodstream. And when they're in the bloodstream, the immune system reacts. Things should stay in the GI system, but we've all heard of leaky gut, right? And so when you have that situation, now people start reacting to food. The food isn't the problem. It's this immune system that's gone haywire from too many things going on. I always say, like, we're laying in our bed at night, going over all the things that we didn't get done today or going over all the tasks that we have for tomorrow. And we're just laying in bed, but our immune system's like, what's going on? What's going on? You're stressed out. You're stressed out. I need to find where the inflammation is. And we're just laying there. That's what stress does to the inside of the body. And so that's where this immune system and inflammation can build up so much, causing weight gain, causing digestive system, causing autoimmune conditions. And so a lot of times it comes back to the people that are actually doing everything right. They're just stressed out of their minds trying to do it all. And so this is where the stress, right? We have to find where the stressors are for that person. For some people, yeah, it's very obvious. You're doing too much. Where can we pull back? Where can't we pull back? Okay, we have to find the balance. I call it like the soundboard. You can't have all the dials up on the soundboard all the time. We have to adjust. We have to find the ones that we can't move. Okay, those stay there, but we got to adjust the other ones. And then Use diet variation, change your diet up every few weeks, change vegetables, change fruits, go from high carb to low carb. Like those things keep the immune system at bay versus eating the same thing constantly. Well, now the immune system can build up immune reactions to those same foods all the time. It's where a lot of times food sensitivities come from. So it's multifaceted, but the easiest way I always tell people, get enough sleep because sleep trumps all. And that's when you detox and pull into that parasympathetic the best. 2, diversify your diet purposefully and even start simple, like change up the vegetables you use each week, change up the fruits you eat each week, and then maybe try going low carb if you've been high carb, add more fats in, change up the proteins. All of those things can actually help quite a bit. And look at your stressors. Where can you pull back stress? Where can you maybe go for walks more instead of doing the 3 HIIT classes a week, right? Where can we do more strength training that's shown pretty clearly in research to be less stressful systemically on the body than doing like super high intensity workouts, which a lot of women in their 30s and 40s go towards because it feels like you're working really hard, right? So those are the 3 actionable things that I look to in terms of, what can you do? Prioritize sleep over anything. I always joke, like, I'd rather someone sleep 8 hours and eat cheeseburgers than eat an immaculate diet and sleep 6 hours. You're better off. You are better off sleeping more and eating poorly. I know it sounds crazy, but like that is how important sleep is. So ideally we want to do both, but sleep's huge. Find where your stressors are, do a self-evaluation. And if you're not good at self-evaluations, hire someone to do it for you and help you. And then you diversify diet. And those 3 things can actually make a huge impact for a lot of people.
That is so amazing. I love that when you turn the dial and get the correct information, it is actually more enjoyable than the false information. So it's including, we're trying to do everything right. We're trying to do good. We're trying to be good. We're trying to check those boxes. And a lot of times we're trying to prove to ourselves or to someone else that we're good enough. And we want some success. We want things to show. And to say, okay, now I command you basically to get some sleep. It almost gives permission, where sometimes you think, but my sleep is wasting time. My sleep means that I'm not being productive. My sleep means that I'm not doing enough. When the reality is, when you have the correct information, is that there's a lot going on inside when we're sleeping. That it's okay we're doing things on the outside, but as you mentioned with our immune system, with all these things that are going on the inside, we need those to be in harmony.
Yeah. You need balance. We're all unbalanced. And it's because today's society, social media, expectations, right? We can give all the reasons. But at the end of the day, it's going to impact our longevity. It's going to impact our quality of life. There's a reason chronic disease and all of these things are on just a significant increase. Yes, our food quality is not great, but a lot of it is because of the stress. We are not managing stress well in today's world. And so I always joke that like it's harder to be healthy right now than it used to be. You have to be intentional about it. Like we can't just live our lives and try and eat healthy and be healthy. Like you have to actually work at it. It's which is unfortunate, but the sooner that we accept that, easier it typically is. And so I've kind of made it my journey to work preventatively with women to help them experience a longer, healthier life, because we can't just wait and hope anymore. Like, yeah, if you wait and hope, you will get sick. Our world is just way too far gone when it comes to the quality of food we experience because of agriculture changes and, all the chemicals and things that we're exposed to now. It's very different than it was 30, 40 years ago. And so we have to kind of support our bodies a little bit more or else they're going to struggle.
That's fascinating and so true. And we can see it in the statistics of the rate of obesity and carrying that extra weight is so high around the world, but in the United States, a lot. And I love the word intentional because I think we see it. We can see it in the mirror. We can see it when we zip up our pants. We can see it when we step on the scale. And the crazy thing is people who are working super hard are being intentional. Again, we just have to turn it a little bit to get that correct information. And the correct information feels almost counterintuitive because it doesn't flow with the the current culture of rush, 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 more is more. And we just need to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to kind of step off of that rat wheel and be. And it's intentional, but it's intentional being almost as much as it is intentional doing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I always say like we probably handle it fine in our teens, our 20s, maybe even our early 30s. Like your body keeps up because your body is very good at keeping up. When most people experience it is mid 30s, late 30s, into their 40s, especially as females, because of the loss of hormones that we go through. And there are things that cause those losses faster, but perimenopause is a time when your progesterone drops. Progesterone is very calming to the immune system, so we lose that. And we've kind of throttled our body through the first 2 to 3 decades of our life, typically. And so, no wonder your thyroid is shot and now you're dealing with hypothyroidism. No wonder your adrenals can't keep up because we have been nonstop for most of our life. And so then people just can't handle things as well. Of course you can't. You don't have hormones now. Your hormones were like your backup. They're your reserve. They're what help you handle stress. They're like your bulletproof vest. When you don't have that anymore, you cannot do what you used to do. Your body is not going to handle it as well. And so, like, one of my practitioners on our team calls it her great softening. Like, the perimenopause is her great softening because she's realizing how much she cannot try and do what she used to do because you just aren't, like, truly simply, your body will not be able to tolerate it because of how hormones protect you throughout your life. When you do not have those levels robust anymore, now your adrenals and your thyroid have to do a lot more work. And when you don't take it easy, you're going to just bottom it all out. So you truly do have to change. You have to change how you live your life in that phase of life if you want to make it through as graciously as possible. Because we see a lot of people just try to run into the wall over and over and over again. And it's like, now we're dealing with autoimmunity. Now we're dealing with thyroid issues. Now we're dealing with blood sugar issues, right? Weight gain, all these things during perimenopause because of how it affects the body. So it's definitely a big evaluation period that I think a lot of women go through.
Wow, that was fascinating. A period of softening and how the hormones protect us. So when we talk about women and we use the word hormone, and it's almost like a bad word, like, oh, my hormones are out of whack. Oh, my hormones are causing this. Oh, my hormones are causing that. And you're saying that the hormones protect us. They make a positive difference and they've been supporting and sustaining you in ways that you had no idea were even happening until it isn't there anymore. And now there's a shift. So let's talk about, okay, I'm in that spot. I'm in perimenopause. The hormones are changing. They're shifting. And I can't do everything. And that makes me mad because I want to do everything that I have always done. What can I do?
Yeah, oh, it's a great question. So one thing that I always talk about, diet diversity helps a ton. And the main focus is in any diet, you want to be protein and fiber. Protein helps balance blood sugars. It helps with stomach acid levels, with that absorption. And fiber is like the unsung hero of food. Like it helps with cardiovascular health, it helps with digestion, it helps with energy, helps with blood sugars. There's so many things that fiber can help with. And so if you focus on two things in your diet, protein and fiber, no matter what type of diet you are eating, protein and fiber. And I usually try and go for like 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal and fiber at minimum 25 grams a day. Ideally closer to 30 plus, 35 plus. And research shows that too. Like if fiber is inadequate, if you are eating 1900 calories, but with like 15 grams of fiber versus the same 1900 calories, but with 40 grams of fiber, your health outcomes are significantly better. So fiber alone is huge. So I'm a huge fan of Mediterranean diet. If people like don't know where to go, it's very well balanced, good and healthy fats, low and high glycemic foods. Like Mediterranean style is a great place to start. Again, I always talk about diversity, so you want to include lots of diverse diet, fruits and vegetables and types of proteins, but I love that. Hydration. Most people are mildly dehydrated chronically, which will drive constipation, will drive brain fog, will drive low energy, poor sleep, blood sugar issues, stress on the body. So 70 to 100 ounces a day, electrolytes in your water to keep good electrolyte balance are extremely supportive. And then I support kind of the main systems, the liver, the adrenals, and the gut. So the liver mainly during this time of life, because that is what detoxes your excess hormones. A lot of women experience a lot of symptoms during perimenopause because of the fluctuations of estrogen. If you are not detoxing estrogen well, it will back up. It will create even bigger fluctuations because of the imbalance then grows. Progesterone's already dropping off and declining. Estrogen kind of goes on this roller coaster. And so the less you detox estrogen, the bigger those roller coaster ups and downs are. And so we use, bitter foods, things like apple cider vinegar, lemon juice throughout the day, dandelion root tea, prebiotics, and then if you want to use supplements, milk thistle, N-acetylcysteine, B vitamins are great for the liver. So the liver is my number one. Liver is like my key to everything. Constipation, energy, brain fog, skin, all kinds of things. Then adrenals. So adrenals will be fueled by healthy eating. Healthy fats are a big source for adrenals. You can also do things like stress management. We talked about most of this podcast are huge. They actually work. And obviously, adaptogens, things like that can be helpful. Ashwagandha, holy basil, things like that. Combination products out there can be great. And then your gut. You can be eating the healthiest foods all day long, but if you aren't absorbing them, you're not benefiting very much from them, right? And if we are not feeling very good when we eat, we're bloated, we're tired after we're eating, we have a ton of food sensitivities, we either have constipation or diarrhea, we know that our digestive system is not optimal. And so in those cases, evaluate first, like, how do you feel after you eat? Do you have food sensitivities? What are they? Can you maybe remove gluten or dairy? Feel better, right? And then you can always look into a digestive enzyme. Things like that can kind of help with the process of digestion. Those can be really easy and simple and safe for most people. But those three systems are where I start. The liver, the adrenals, and the gut, because they affect everything else. So it's usually where I go.
So that's where we go. And isn't it wonderful that the answer is support your body? These systems in your body are designed to do all the things that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're healed, when they're functioning properly, then it's like the center and everything out from there kind of naturally takes care of itself. So you're not working on the symptoms, you're going into the root. And when you solve the root, it takes care of the things that are on its downline.
Yes. And hormones are downstream. Hormones are not a root cause usually. They are affected by everything else. So they can create a lot of symptoms. People feel their hormones for sure. Like hormones can make you feel all kinds of crazy. But hormones are almost never the root issue. And that's why we don't always support hormones first. Many women, eventually, if my clients will go on HRT because I find it very helpful for that phase of life, but I never do it first. Because if you throw hormones onto a fire, you create a much bigger fire. And so hormones can fuel things, good or bad. So I'm always very careful with when and how I implement them because they can be amazing, but they can also cause bigger issues.
Wow, that's fascinating. Okay, I love that. So the hormones, and this is coming from the hormone queen who knows what she's talking about and can give correct information. It is a fuel. And if you put fuel on the fire, it makes it bigger. So whether it is the solution or exacerbates the problem depends on the root cause. We got to go back to the root.
What's the
So
terrain?
go back, solve this first. So let's say how long, if you have someone comes in with a problem and they're considering taking the HRT, would you start with a diet change and working on supporting those three things, the liver, the adrenals, and the gut, before you would say, oh, okay, I think that also taking this would benefit your situation?
Yeah. And I mean, this could be an entirely different podcast, but HRT is a whole world. There are many different types. I don't agree with all of the types. You don't want to put all of them in at once. You typically want to do one at a time because, again, if someone's reactive, you don't know what they're reacting to if you put too much in at once. I don't love pellets. There's certain things that I feel very strongly about when it comes to hormones. I typically try to take at least 2 months or 3 months and get many of their main symptoms calmed down first. because most people are coming to me not just going on hormones. Like most people are coming to us with massive weight loss resistance, bloating, constipation, autoimmunity, all of these different symptoms. We work with cancer clients. Like it is the whole, lots of different cases. I'm always trying to get things calmed down first before we add anything in that could be very potent to the body. Hormones are one of those. So,
yeah, I love that. And as you're giving the examples of the types of clients that are coming in, we're talking about weight loss resistance. And then you mentioned cancer. These are two very different issues. One is, dang it, this is really frustrating. And the other is life or death. And yet the answer to both types of problems is let's go to the root. Let's support your body. Let's heal it. Let's support it. Let's nourish it. Let's get your body functioning properly so that you can heal yourself. And then if there's something additional that needs to come from the outside, it's beautiful because when we get to the root of the problem, it's really inside. It's not that someone from the outside is coming in and saving me with a miracle pill, although I do appreciate all types of help. But the basis, the foundation is inside my body functioning optimally. I love it.
that's where the root of it, I mean, our bodies are built to heal. And so if they aren't healing themselves, there's a reason why, and everything can be complex, but in the reality of it, it's not as complex as we think. It really is. It comes down to, a few big things: metabolic function, inflammation, the immune system. It's the root of it all. So
That's so cool. I love when the answers are simple. I love
simple, not
when
easy.
things work. Yeah, simple, not easy. That's very true. And there is a difference. There is a difference. Yeah. Oh man, that was amazing. Okay. Is there anything else you want to make sure that we cover before we close today?
I just always want to put it out there that there are answers to your problem. I think a lot of people can feel very hopeless with the onslaught of information. One, like there's way too much information out there. It can be super overwhelming. You don't know what to do or what to follow. Find something, be consistent with it, and evaluate. Is it right? Is it not right for me? And if you struggle with that, find someone to help because there are people out there and there are always answers. That's the one thing that I always want to remind people of because I think people can get to a place where they're like, I'm it. I am the exception. Nothing, no one can help me. Nothing can help me. My body's broken, and it's just such a hard place to get to. And I sympathize with those people because I've felt there before. But I always want to remind people like there are always answers. Whether you want to search them out and work for them is your choice, but they're out there. So give people hope.
I appreciate that. I think hope matters so much because if we don't have hope, we give up. Or if we don't have hope, we don't try. Or if we don't have hope, we try the wrong things. And so your advice of let's learn, let's try this, and then evaluate. And then if we need to make a change, if something isn't working, let's look for another avenue, another path until you find a solution that actually works.
Never give up on yourself. Our health journey is the only one we're on for the rest of our lives. So, we're the only ones that are with us forever. So we might as well be in a good body to live that life.
Yep. We have lots of things that we're trying to get through, and yet without our body, we can't do any of them.
Yeah.
So as we're talking to the root, I might have these grand aspirations and these dreams, but I got to be healthy in order to accomplish those things. So, wow, Becca, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
In closing, I'd like to share a quote by Robert Ulrich. He said, "A healthy outside starts from the inside." Today, I invite our listeners to get healthy on the inside. See you next time on Linda's Corner. Thanks for tuning in to Linda's Corner podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends to help us inspire even more listeners. Be sure to visit hopeforhealingfoundation.org for free and affordable resources to help you overcome life's challenges. And explore healingbreathworkdetox.com, where you'll find transformative tools for deep inner healing and lasting change. Also, don't forget to check out my books, Crushed, A Journey Through Depression, and You Got This, an action plan to calm fear, anxiety, worry, and stress. Your journey to hope, healing, and happiness starts here.